Tomas, I'm smiling right now because, it's good to have a wrestling company that, likes you and everything like that. But, I mean, we're not talking about current day WWE. We just got off of a very, very fun time at Monday Night Raw at the SAP Center, which was a great time.
Oh yeah,
The White Rabbit song blaring over the PA system, and we were just theorizing about that. But
we got a great Lashley and Seth Rollins match to open the
we
show for the
did.
United States title. However, we
Mm-hmm.
got a great Kevin Owens Austin Theory match. Bailey got the hometown pop. We got a very random and short 6-woman tag after the match with Damage Control versus Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, and Asuka. So random to the point where Belair wasn't even dressed to wrestle. They
No,
literally wrestled for like 5 minutes and then they picked up the win.
it was
So
literally just to send the crowd home happy. That's all it was. But
I will say WWE has been severely lacking on their audience made events. Because I remember when I went to Raw in 2021, there was after Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair, there was straight up not a dark main event for us. And I
no,
think it was because they were trying to get all the wrestlers on the plane to Saudi Arabia, which fuck that.
man,
But again, we got a San Jose street fight the last time Raw was in San Jose.
isn't it nice to have a head of creative that likes you back? Who knew?
Mm-hmm.
But Backlash 2004 is the subject today, and you'll notice a certain fucker on the pay-per-view poster and on the DVD cover for this. Nowhere to be found on the network advertising, that's for sure. Nowhere to be found.
Absolutely not. And you know what? The first thing I'm going to say about the show is on paper, this card looks like shit. But this show actually surprised me. There were actually some hidden gems on this show that it was fun to go back and look.
Believe it or not, I think it's the best pay-per-view of 2004 so far. I know that's a
Better than
crazy
WrestleMania 20?
statement. WrestleMania 20 had a crummy undercard and 2 amazing main events, but I don't know, man. I feel like with 2 4.5-star matches out of 8 total on this show, and some overall fun undercard matches here and there,
Yeah.
I think it's certainly up there with the strongest. And I mean, the 4 pay-per-views
Yeah.
that we like now it's 4. They've all been strong so far, including this one. And this is a Raw exclusive.
Yeah. Very. Yes, exactly. And before we get into this, I just want to say I've been watching some of Brian Zane's retro reviews, and he just did Vengeance and No Mercy 2003. We were kind of harsh on those pay-per-views, but looking back in retrospective after listening to his thoughts, you got to remember those were the first 2 SmackDown exclusive pay-per-views. So they were still trying to get their footing and get the formula down when you only have these brand exclusive pay-per-views. So perhaps we were a bit harsh on those shows.
Bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I remember loving Vengeance 03. That's still a freaking awesome show.
That was more geared towards No Mercy 2003. And,
Yeah.
not to plug other channels, but go watch his review. And he has some, shares
No,
feelings
hey.
on the biker chain match.
Honestly, we love this community. We love plugging other people. So yeah, go for the love of the content, But yeah, do subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell for us as well. That would be awesome. But
Yeah.
Backlash
Backlash, yeah.
takes place
In, yeah.
Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Chris Benoit's hometown, mind you. And you'll notice on the Peacock stream, it's considerably shorter than a lot of the other 2004 pay-per-views that we have. Because there is a whole ass 10-minute segment cut out of the show, which was paying humongous tribute to Chris Benoit, basically throwing, Chris Benoit Day in his hometown, and we're like, look at how big of a philanthropist and a family man this guy is. What a great
Some
representative.
very eerie undertones to this pay-per-view, as we'll get into more with the main event. But yeah, they were, again, Canada had a world champion, and this was Canada's first world champion since I want to say Chris Jericho back in 02.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, it doesn't really seem like that big of a deal, but I don't think there's been a Canadian champion this beloved in the retrospective since Bret Hart, which is a humongous deal.
A huge deal. And one other thing about this pay-per-view, this is a new era for both brands, Raw and SmackDown.
Sure is.
We just had a draft.
The draft lottery. I completely forgot about that.
The draft lottery, I want to say this was the first of the yearly tradition that WWE would do. And this was say what you want about Vince McMahon, but the iconic audio clip of him saying, "It's time to shake things up again." I really love that. So what they did was they literally put all the superstars into this tumbler, like a bingo tumbler, and they would pull names out of there, and that's how you got your drop picks. And this would show for the first match. Here we have Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, taking on Shelton Benjamin,
Yes,
who was
sir.
split off from his tag team partner Charlie Haas on SmackDown, and they saw something in Benjamin. This is his first time on his own. And that goes right away into the build for this pay-per-view. The reason why we're having this match is that on Benjamin's first night on Monday Night Raw, he pinned Triple H.
Albeit with an inside cradle, but people still considered it a humongous upset. But that put Shelton over like a big deal, and it put him over like a big future star to keep your eyes out on, which is a perfect way to book him early on in his first Raw days, basically. And Ric Flair was basically, the gimmick was he was going to teach him a lesson in respect, essentially.
Yeah, and this was Benjamin's first test, although he did pin Triple H, and then he got a disqualification victory over Triple H the following week. So they saw something in Benjamin, and why wouldn't you? He's this plucky, young, very likable babyface on Raw. They were experimenting with him on this time, and it's crazy to go back and see Benjamin's first singles pay-per-view match here in WWE. And then just let you guys know, when we went to Raw, one of the main event matches, not main event, but the show main event, was the Alpha Academy taking on Mustafa Ali and Shelton Benjamin. And Shelton Benjamin got a veteran's ovation when he came out. It's crazy to see that Benjamin is here, this plucky young underdog in 2004, almost 20 years later, and he's a seasoned veteran still in WWE. And there's one main difference I can say. To this day, Benjamin's still a fucking stud.
Oh, yeah. And like 2004, though, one big difference is they actually still treat Shelton Benjamin like a big deal. They started treating him like a big deal, but when he's on main event and everything like that, like, we loved the Alpha Academy, but like seeing Shelton there was kind of like, wow, I grew up with this guy. I've never seen him wrestle live
I feel like,
either.
On one hand, Benjamin is kind of at that state of his career, which, he's not doing half of the crazy shit that he used to do back in 04, but he's still athletic as hell. And he's here mainly to earn a paycheck and probably put over some young guys in the process. But I remember last year in the Thunderdome era, Benjamin cut a very passionate promo saying that, you may not see me around, but I'm still the gold standard here in WWE. And I'm still like one of the best pure athletes in WWE history. And I really agree with that.
He proved it in this match.
Was such a good athlete that when John Cena was asked who's a better athlete, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat or Benjamin, Cena went out of his way to say Benjamin is the best pure athlete in WWE right now. So Benjamin was put over like a motherfucker.
I would argue he may be the best pure athlete in the history of WWE. He was pulling stuff out in this match against Ric Flair, like jumping from the ring canvas all the way up to the top rope with the greatest of ease. And it's just a sight to behold, really. And the King was even baffled at Shelton's agility. And I feel like, and the crowd reacted to him in kind. He got a fairly big pop when he came out. Ric Flair got a big ovation as well, as one half of the World Tag Team Champions. But the whole gimmick was Ric Flair is just trying to cheat. This is just typical Ric Flair. It's a textbook opening match, as I described to Tomas after I watched it.
Not seeing this match for a while, the first thing I'm going to say is I'm surprised how, fairly good chemistry Benjamin and Flair had in this match. You look at it and you think, generation-wise, if you could see a present-day Jay Lethal wrestling a 2004 Ric Flair, when Ric Flair finally got his mojo back, being in Evolution, being Triple H's manager, this is what it would look like, because, you got Benjamin's athleticism and you got Flair's just, old school veteran mentality, working on the limbs, and Benjamin was selling. Selling those chops for Flair, really paying respect. And I really like the opening sequence of this match because, they lock up, they do some chain wrestling for a little bit, and you can see the respect for Benjamin and Flair, but then Flair just slaps Benjamin in the face and Benjamin just gives him a receipt right back at him. And it was just like, I respect you, but you ain't going to disrespect me, boy.
Freaking love watching receipts in wrestling unless it's coming from CM Punk. But Shelton, I don't think he hit a T-bone in this match. That was basically his finisher going forward. But
don't think that was established as his finisher yet.
Probably not. Probably not. I know for sure sometime
was,
2004 is his finisher. 100%.
Oh yeah, because he used the Stinger Splash, and they were calling it the Stinger Splash. That's how he beat Triple H.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Triple H was distracted. He had his, his back was facing off in the turnbuckle. Benjamin hit a Stinger Splash, and he rolled up Triple H for the 3. So Benjamin was starting to get he was starting to get on his roll. He was starting to experiment with moves, and he was showing how great athleticism. One of the best moves he still does to this day is the Dragon Whip, where he'll go for a kick to the midsection. The opponent will catch him, and Flair does this. He spins Benjamin around, and he just hits you with a spinning kick to the head.
Damn, yeah. That was one of my favorite Shelton maneuvers, was that Dragon Whip kick. It just was so clean every time. But also, let the lesson be learned that Triple H does, in fact, know how to lose to a Stinger Splash more often than not. But Shelton, one big story was that he was selling the knee throughout the match to soften it up for the figure 4 leg lock, which he was in for a while. Didn't tap out to it, obviously. But Ric Flair goes up to the top rope. Flair tries to pull out some brass knuckles like he's another William Regal. Shelton fights out of it, and he beats Flair with a top rope clothesline for the 1-2-3. Clean as a sheet in the middle of the ring, putting Shelton over huge in his first solo pay-per-view outing. 10 minutes.
It was a clean finish for Benjamin, and I do like, again, kind of like just the ring awareness and how smart Benjamin was. It's like, he low-key saw the brass knucks, so he's like, okay, I'm just going to take care of these. He hits Flair with the Stinger Splash. And like we said before, the T-bone suplex wasn't cemented as Benjamin's finisher, so he had to win it another way. And that top rope clothesline looked pretty good. And Benjamin gets the win. I'm comfortable giving this 3 stars. This was a fun little opener.
Me too.
It was a great way to put Benjamin over.
Yeah, I'll match it. Good, solid 10 minutes, just textbook opening match. The crowd was certainly into it. They were not bored during this match. There were 2 lads in the ring who they both enjoyed watching. Ric Flair for being an enjoyable, funny heel, as we saw at WrestleMania 20. Shelton for being the up-and-coming rookie, I guess you can say, who's beaten the established names of Evolution. But it's a good opener.
As for his tag team partner, Charlie Haas, we will be talking about him next month at Judgment Day. And oh boy, did Haas get the Marty Jannetty treatment.
Oh man, Tomas is going to have a stroke next month when we talk about those random tag teams. But
yeah, and I think I'm going to save all my thoughts for the Haas and Benjamin dynamic after they split up. I'm going to save it for the Judgment Day review because you're right. I have some opinions about this.
Oh yeah. I have so many opinions on Judgment Day, but we'll save that for next month. We cut backstage and Randy Orton is getting interviewed by Todd Grisham, who I don't think is a name we've said on this retro yet. Todd Grisham was an interesting figure, but Randy Orton, of course, is holding that beautiful Intercontinental Championship. And he basically is saying, I'm going to give Mick Foley a beatdown that causes him to retire once and for all. Because he's an old, toothless dog. And you know what you do to old, toothless dogs, Todd? You take him out back, and you put him out of his misery. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm like, man, this young Randy Orton, just so good at cutting promos even. But, yeah, Todd Grisham.
I'm going to say great promo by Orton. We'll save more thoughts about that when we get to that match. But I always felt like Todd Grisham was just there. Not saying he wasn't bad, but there was nothing really special about him. He'd be a backstage announcer. He would kind of convert to commentary, and his commentary, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just there. And,
he existed. He's like Josh Matthews. He exists.
No, Josh Matthews has a ton more charisma. He has a ton more personality than Grisham ever could ask for. If Grisham is known for one thing, it's being the host of Bite This and talking shit about, for some reason, Grisham fucking hated TNA.
He fucking hated the troll fans who would call in for Bite This. Like, I remember Todd Grisham for that mostly.
I can't tell if Grisham just genuinely hated TNA or if he was just such a WWE loyalist that he was going to hate any company that wasn't WWE.
He was like if Seth freaking Rollins was an interviewer. Like, such a WWE patriot there.
Yeah, I just remember Grisham being there. He commentated SmackDown with Mick Foley near the end of his career, and it didn't work.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Work.
I forgot about that.
Because JR was kind of leaving. He was on his way out of WWE, so he got replaced with Grisham, and it's just like, this is such a bland team. And then Foley was out of his door, and he went to TNA. And then I think it turned into Grisham and Matt Striker, and that's just an era of SmackDown I'd forget about.
Nope. Not talking about Matt Striker right now, that's for sure. But speaking of interviewers who don't belong in the ring, Jonathan Coachman is wrestling a match on this show, ladies and gentlemen. He's taking on the Japanese buzzsaw Tajiri, who is also an acquisition through the draft lottery for Monday Night Raw. This feud, was so fucking random, wasn't it?
So how does this feud start? Because Coachman literally walked backstage. He greeted some wrestlers. He turns to Tajiri and said, "Hey, what's up, Tajiri?" And Tajiri just sprays Coachman in the face with the green mist because Coachman's an asshole and he fucking deserves it. Now, let me ask you something, Zack.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Tajiri sprayed mist into Nydia's eyes and permanently blinded her. Well, temporarily more. Mm-hmm. But he sprays mist into Coach's face. Coach is screaming like a kid. Mm-hmm. And a couple weeks later, he's wrestling a match against Tajiri. Perfectly fine.
So, that's very easily explained. I'm glad you asked this. Tajiri sprayed Nydia with black mist, but he only sprayed Coachman with the traditional green mist, like the Great Muta would do. Green mist doesn't blind you. It's like algae. You just wash it out of your face.
That, but you would think that Coachman, being such a douchebag heel, he would kind of sell that to his advantage, kind of like come to the ring with an eye patch and be like, no, I can't wrestle Tajiri. That moron sprayed mist in my face, and he permanently, I just think Coach would do something like that. He would be such a weasel to get out of this match, because one thing again, as such a random match this is, basically backstage personnel versus a wrestler. Tajiri, props to Coach, first of all, because he got in the ring one of the stiffest workers in the company, and Tajiri did not fucking take it easy on Coach in this match.
It takes some balls to get in the ring with Tajiri, when you're early on in your wrestling days. And Coach was certainly not a wrestler, but I mean, give him some props, because he was doing some moves in this match. Coach was not horrible, and I'll tell you that much. I was expecting, going in to rewatch this, I don't remember this match really at all growing up. But I was expecting to rewatch this thing and for it to be a complete, total train wreck. It wasn't. It was perfectly passable. Tajiri,
it was a fine match, and the main thing I remember from this match is just Coachman taking these stiff ass shots from Tajiri. There's a point where Coachman is set up in the corner.
Yeah, the Tree of Woe, right?
Running drop kick, and it snaps Coach's head back. It was an audible fucking smack to the face by Tajiri's boot. And again, give Coachman all the credit in the world for taking those stiff shots from Tajiri.
It's almost like an initiation of some sort to take that stiff kick from Tajiri. So here's the thing. The crowd kind of getting restless during this match. They know it's not the greatest, but Tajiri locks Coach in the tarantula, and I believe it's at this point where Lance Cade runs down to the ring, punches Tajiri right in the face, and then Coach rolls Tajiri up in a schoolboy and pins him. Former ECW television champion getting pinned by a backstage interviewer. Makes all the sense in the world to me.
Crazy. And as passable as this match was, and as much as I didn't mind it, we were having this discussion a few days ago. Coachman feels like he was such a good heel and such a good character. I just feel like his role was always so misplaced. He wasn't a bad commentator. He was definitely a great heat magnet, and for someone to just get easy heat on and take a beating. Then he's here wrestling. I feel like Coach never realized his full potential, because he was never a permanent manager for somebody.
Yeah, it could have been a great heel manager.
If you would have swapped these roles with Garrison Cade, because in this instance, Garrison Cade is Coach's heavy.
Yeah.
Which, again, swap the roles. If Cade would have went into this match and fought Tajiri, and Coachman would have helped him win, and Coach was the manager, I feel like he just would have flourished a lot more, instead of just floundering, just doing these random roles. We're not done talking about Coach by a long shot. He would do segments.
He would be in
the
Royal Rumble match.
He would be in the Royal Rumble, and he was such a good sniveling heel. But I just feel like stick him with, I don't know, just for example, Rodney Mack. put him with a big, huge guy that he can just,
Mark
Coachman could
Henry.
have been Mark Henry, Teddy Long did wonders for Mark Henry. But, if Coach would have did that, I feel like Coach would have been what MVP is now 20 years prior.
Yeah.
Like Coach could have been the template for heel managers going forward.
Kind of has that MVP swagger about him too. If you really watch Coach work, like you see a lot of similarities between him and MVP and just how they carry themselves. But I'm gonna go ahead and give this 1 star. This is a way better match than any Coach match has any right to be. And there's certainly going to be worse matches involving Coach that we'll get into, but I don't know. I think Tajiri did a wonderful job carrying him to a halfway passable match. Wasn't...
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1.25 stars just because, again, there were some really stiff shots in these matches, and Coach was taking them full on. Like, also, Tajiri hits his trademark springboard back elbow, which is great as a kid. That's one of the things there was three things I remembered about Tajiri: the mist, the tarantula, and that springboard back elbow.
Mm-hmm. He did hit one of those in this match too, and it was a thing of beauty.
2 out of those 3 things were illegal, but he would do them in every match is mind-boggling. Again, the tarantula is an illegal maneuver. Why does he do it? He cannot win the match with the tarantula.
Well, he has still 5. He can cause some punishment there, but okay. So after this, I don't think there's any interviews before this next match.
I don't have the card in front of me, so
Jericho was doing something, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you again. My computer's crapping out. I don't have the match card in front of me. Here we have a continuation of a WrestleMania feud. This time it is Christian, the future Christian Cage, and Trish Stratus taking on Chris Jericho in a 2-on-1 handicap match. The only real dynamic to this feud is just that Trish Stratus is now heel. We talked about this back at WrestleMania 20. One of the best swerves of the year, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Trish Stratus joins up with Christian Cage after just totally they bamboozled Jericho. It was a huge swerve. And now the feud kind of shifts over to Jericho and Trish Stratus. And there's one episode of the highlight reel where Stratus is on there. She's talking about how hot she is and how Jericho couldn't handle her. She needed a real man, and how Trish Stratus was the babe of the year. And Jericho comes back with one of the most memorable lines of my childhood. Wasn't Babe a talking pig?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, as a 10-year-old, I'm like, I remember Babe. Yeah, Babe was a talking pig. I remember that movie.
As Jeff Ross would say, what a babe. I love that movie.
God damn. So that was a memorable line for me.
Yeah, it's the crowd is giving Trish Stratus some less than flattering chance to start the match off. And the plan basically
the plan is, Christian says it in the promo package. You're going to stand on the apron. I'm going to do all the work. And then when the time is right, I'm going to tag you in and you're going to pin Chris Jericho.
Yep. To really, really embarrass him. Because, see, in 2004, a woman beating a man was, that was a no-no if you were a wrestler. Like,
kind of think of it as, remember when Paul Heyman and Ryback teamed up to fight CM Punk in Hell in a Cell? And
I
Heyman
remember
just
that.
Hid on top of the cell, just waiting for it to be over. That was kind of like this match. Stratus is just on the apron. She's not going to get in there. She's not going to get her hands dirty. It's basically Christian versus Jericho part 2.
Basically, Trish only gets in the ring for Jericho to get his comeuppance on her, which includes a spanking, which the crowd really enjoyed.
2004, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. She hits Jericho with a chick kick, though, so she at least had that for sure. But there was some, again, just continuing off the WrestleMania 20 match, which I really, really loved. Christian and Jericho had excellent in-ring chemistry. Great Northern Light suplexes. Christian also locks in the Texas Cloverleaf in this match. Christian actually hit the kill switch. There were some good near falls. Lion Salt blocked by Christian. Jericho locks in the walls. Trish gets the walls of Jericho. And then Christian, because he's the legal man, Christian and Trish have some miscommunications, I believe. Go ahead.
At this point, looking at this match and just looking at the whole presentation, this is when Christian really started looking like a star. Long gone are, no more long hair, no more goofy glasses, no more. And I know Christian has been like this for a while, but He's got the custom pants with the C on it. No more of that weird sequin shirt that he would wear. The only thing that'd be missing, and we're going to be talking about this soon, is that banger of a theme song he would later get.
Yes.
Just seeing Christian in this match, like, this is when he's like, you realize that this guy was a single star.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's like, Christian had been like this for like a year since he had won the IC title. But having Trish at his side, I feel like just added so much more to his status. And Christian also coming out with that banger of a theme song, which we'll talk about once we get to Survivor Series. But
that's
Jericho,
the only thing that's missing right now.
yeah, the chick singing "Just Close Your Eyes." Yeah, that's the only thing missing.
Waterproof. Yeah, never mind. I can't even say it right.
Something like that.
The band's name is Waterproof Blonde.
Oh,
I know that.
That's totally what it is.
And I played that song the daily. That was my guilty pleasure as a kid.
Completely forgot that was their name. Thank you for reminding me. But
again, the debate still going on to this day. Which version is better, the Waterproof Blonde version or the Story of the Year version? And that
Waterproof Blonde. That's no fucking contest. The chick singing it is so much better.
It's just like the argument right now. What was better, Christian Cage's TNA theme or his AEW theme? They sound exactly the same. But then I put them side to side and realized they sound a little different. But they're both just rip-offs of Waterproof Blonde. And I'm just like, you can't beat the original.
Oh,
you
yeah.
Really can't.
This podcast has turned into which theme song of Christian's is the best one. But
exactly, because he had some really banger theme songs over the years.
The At
Even
Last.
the one in 2002.
Yep.
That one too. This guy was just the king of theme songs.
Him and Edge both. But the three Canadians did really, really well in here. Trish does get locked in the walls of Jericho. Christian does save her. And Jericho ends up slingshotting Christian into Trish. And the finish is very strange. Jericho beats Christian clean with a running enziguri. Not a code breaker. Not a lion salt. A running enziguri.
Which, again, Jericho, I don't know how he was able to go this far in his career without a grapple finishing move. He strictly stuck with the walls of Jericho and still won so many matches. Again, this is pre-Code Breaker. This is pre-Judas Effect. Thank God he's not using the breakdown anymore. Jericho was just one of those guys that he just had to win some matches with some random moves because you can't always make the opponent tap out. I think they were still trying to protect Christian, so...
Well, the enziguri was also, I remember vividly, I played as Chris Jericho a lot in the original SmackDown versus Raw game. His finisher was that running enziguri. And I'm like, okay, if they're going to make this his finisher, then okay. Okay.
Again, a running enziguri is still better than the breakdown, and I will take that to my grave.
Oh, yeah, but good stuff here. 3.25 stars from me. Not as good as their match at WrestleMania. But this is 50-50 booking coming into... It's 50-50 booking here. This advanced
the story. Jericho got his win back. It made the crowd happy. And this feud, it's going fine so far, but it's about to run into a very big problem solver. And we'll be talking about that in a couple of months with our Bad Blood review. And I am not looking forward to talking about this.
Oh, me neither. That pun was absolutely intended.
This element to this feud would follow Christian Cage for the next 6 years.
Crazy to think about it that way. But here's a great character that was debuting in 2004. While Christian had his problem solver, William Regal had a very special protege. We cut backstage and we see poor old Eugene walking around with a WWE Divas magazine. He goes into the women's locker room and he just wants Gil Kim's autograph. That's all he wants. And Gil Kim is just baffled by this. But poor old Eugene doesn't know any better.
So for those who don't know, I think we need to get into the subject now.
Yes.
Eugene, who was played by Nick Dinsmore, was a very special character. Back in 2004, this was very unique. This was very new. This is something that was never done in professional wrestling before, and honestly, will probably never happen again.
He's a wrestling savant, basically. He's got some autism, which honestly, in my personal life, it's really inspiring to see a character like this.
And again, you want a perfect example, go watch Brian Zane's video about Eugene. Anybody who thinks that this is distasteful, it wasn't done right, this character was Nick Dinsmore's idea. This was the brainchild of him. And as we go on with this, with this perspective and this retrospective, the fact that this character was handled so well in WWE is absolutely not mind-boggling, but mind-blowing, because,
floors me.
It's so easy to just mess this up.
It's so easy to make this. It's so easy to make this offensive and over the top. But there's a reason why I consider Forrest Gump to be one of, if not the greatest movies of all time. It's because Tom Hanks did not go too over the top with how I don't know how else to describe it really, but Forrest had some problems, and Tom Hanks very easily could have gone way offensive, but he did. And I think he had just the right levels where it just felt realistic enough. And honestly, I feel like Nick Dinsmore doesn't really get enough credit for not only not making it too offensive, but also bringing this idea to the forefront. And it's honestly super inspiring. It's great.
Because as we'll be talking about later with this review, so basically right now, the story is Eugene is Eric Bischoff's nephew. And Bischoff's sister forced Bischoff to bring Eugene to WWE because Eugene is the biggest WWE fan in the world. If you just take all that pure energy and love that we have for wrestling for kids and put it into a wrestling character, that was Eugene. And Bischoff didn't want to deal with his nephew. He didn't really like his nephew. So he tasked one William Regal, who wasn't really doing anything at the time.
He just came back from injury, too.
Yeah. To be Eugene's mentor. And even though Regal was reluctant at first, I don't want to spoil anything about this storyline because I'm looking very forward to revisiting it. This is like one of the purest and most wholesome friendships that you're ever going to see develop in wrestling.
It's fantastic.
And we're going to be talking about it. Yeah, we're going to be talking about it a little more as the show goes on. But again, wow, just the storytelling. But yeah, Eugene, he just wants Gail Kim's autograph. Gail Kim, doesn't want anything to do with him. Molly Holly comes in. Remember, she's bald because she got her head shaved at WrestleMania. She is the wig that we'll be talking about later. And Eugene just looks at her and goes, bald. And Molly Holly screams. And then William Regal has to come in and get young Master Eugene out of there. And more on that later because it's you're in for a good time.
Regal apologizing on Eugene's behalf and Gail Kim just like feeling so besmirched by the whole ordeal. Which brings us, this is where they cut out all the Benoit stuff in the all the Benoit tributes out of the network feed. But we go right to the women's title match. Victoria defending against everyone's first goth crush, Lita. I cannot believe that this babyface versus babyface match had never happened up until this point. And these two should have wrestled so much more because this is the best women's match we've talked about on this retrospective by country miles. Very good match.
First of all, once again, WWE has edited Victoria's banger of a theme song. You fucking monster!
Shame on you.
If you weren't watching wrestling during the era where Victoria used the theme song, then you missed out because it was, again, great theme song. Great song in general. Still go back to that song to this day.
Oh yeah, 100%. Lita, I think they do a handshake, lock up, arm drag takedown. This is women's wrestling right here. And Tomas was telling me the other day, if you put these two in a main event spotlight on Raw, they could very easily have a 15-minute clinic here. But they only got 7.5 minutes here. And
the other thing that really bogged this match down is the crowd didn't give a shit.
Shame on you, Edmonton crowd. I know the White Rabbit is lurking around you guys somewhere, but come on. The least you could do is rewind 18 years and be more invested in this shit. So
exactly, because I was invested in this match. These girls, they clicked very well. And the grapples and the strikes and the suplexes and just Victoria does not get enough credit as a wrestler. Again, she was a wrestler way before her time. Like, again, you pluck several women out of this division and you put them in a 2022 WWE environment and they would have flourished a lot more. I said this before, I'll say it again. Beth Phoenix was in the wrong generation of women's wrestling. So was Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lita and Trish Stratus did very well with what they were given, but Michelle McCool is another name that comes to mind. If they would just been, again, born in a different era, they would have been. There's a reason why Beth Phoenix retired as young as she did, because there was nothing left for her to do. You can only win the women's championship in 2011 WWE so many times before it gets old.
Exactly.
And, not that she wasn't putting over the other ladies she was working with, but again, where do you go once you've reached the top? Beth Phoenix peaked way too soon, and I feel like a lot of these girls did. Victoria, unfortunately, did not get treated as well as she should have near the end of her run. But again, a lot for these ladies like Trish Stratus, like the Litas that retired like in 2006. There was nowhere really else for them to go. You can only win the women's titles so many times.
Which sucks. Really, really does. But Victoria doing a standing moonsault and then King saying that Lita made that move famous in WWE. I mean, I love Lita, but I feel like that's giving her too much credit by having her be the innovator of the moonsault and everything like that.
I wouldn't say she's the innovator of the moonsault. She was definitely the innovator of the Lita Kanrana.
Yes.
Nobody really, other than like a cruiserweight on SmackDown, could pull off a Hurricane Rana as beautifully and as smoothly as she did. So clean. You go back to the Attitude Era, she was hitting that shit on the Hardy Boys. She was hitting that shit on Rhino. She was just, again, way ahead of her time.
Yeah, Lita, for a woman who is
Hardy's Edge and Christian, why would she be hitting her own partners? Edge and Christian.
Well, I mean, she would be hitting on Edge sooner or later, but more on that later. But Lita, for someone who is coming off major neck surgery, she held her own so well in this. She goes for a DDT style move, and Victoria counters with a nice inside cradle for 3, retaining the championship. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and give it 3. The only reason why it's not higher than that is because it was only 7 minutes. And I feel like if they went 10, this could have very easily been a 4-star match. Easily.
Oh, yeah. And if the crowd was a little more into it. Again, you give these ladies 15 minutes and you put them in front of like a jack crowd like we just got for Grand Slam. Oh, my God. So much better.
Yes.
But again, wrong era for women's wrestling. And unfortunately, it would not get better for them for probably another 10 years.
Which is
very, very, very sad to say.
2004, yeah. Women's wrestling was in purgatory for a while.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But yeah, here's the big one. Here's the big one that everybody remembers from this show.
One of the marquee matches. It is Mick Foley challenging Randy Orton for the Intercontinental Championship and a hardcore falls count anywhere. You can't even call this a match. This was a war.
Oh, so awesome. Like reliving this.
Foley and Orton are basically coming to a head with their rivalry. We've chronicled the entire thing in our WrestleMania review, from Foley challenging Orton to Foley getting cold feet and walking out, to getting spit in the face, to getting kicked downstairs, to recruiting The Rock from Hollywood, to WrestleMania, all the way to here. No more of that. No more partners. Foley challenges Orton for the Intercontinental Championship. Hardcore match, something Orton has never done before. And that is what this whole story is built around. No evolution. And I know it's a no-holds
barred from ringside.
But this is like just, code of honor between two opponents. Hey, I know they can, but for once, please, don't bring evolution out. No interference. This needs to end between me and you. And to Orton's credit, he respects that. There is no evolution interference in this match. And
yes,
this was Randy Orton's coming out party, because
it sure was.
This is one of the best hardcore matches. And this is definitely top 5 bully match in WWE history.
You think so?
You got some bangers. You got the classic Hell in a Cell. You have his classic bouts with The Rock. You have that classic match with Triple H. Both at the Royal Rumbles. And then we have another match we're going to be talking about. It's not going to be for a while, but his classic match with Edge at WrestleMania 22. This is definitely up there.
That's what Mick Foley was best at. Not just the hardcore wrestling and everything like that, but taking someone who is just on the cusp of the main event and just propelling them into that spotlight and making them feel like a big fucking deal. He did it 4 years prior with Hunter Hearst Helmsley at the Royal Rumble in that classic street fight in Madison Square Garden. Here he is doing it again with a young Randy Orton, who was only 23 years old at the time of this match, which is insane.
all my feelings into into in hindsight, putting all my feelings in this match, it's nobody says it better than Foley prior to the match. He said he was thinking about what hardcore meant to him. And it's not about the steel chairs. It's not about the tables. It's not about the barbed wire. It's not about the thumbtacks. It's about him willing to put himself through that for all the fans' entertainment. And I was thinking about that too, of like what hardcore meant to me. And to me, and I know this is a hot take, hardcore is not about blood and barbed wire and light tubes and flaming tables and all that stuff. WWE, or I shouldn't even really, Foley and Orton went out there and they told a story. And this story did include steel chairs and trash cans and kendo sticks and
Barbies.
barbed wire. But they took this hardcore match and they turned it into such a coherent story. And that's what I love most about this match.
So many incredible callbacks, like everywhere. Randy Orton comes out by himself.
Yeah, every single spot in this match had a meaning. It wasn't just they were doing shit just to do shit. Everything in this match was set up perfectly, and everything they did in this match meant something. Whether it was a callback to something earlier in the feud, or if it was a classic Foley spot, or if it was another dynamic that Orton does.
Even Mick Foley coming out in the Cactus Jack gear, that had meaning. No Cactus Jack music. He was still announced as Mick Foley, but JR was adamant of calling him Cactus Jack. You know, because this is a hardcore match, and nobody has more balls in a hardcore match than Cactus Jack himself. Barbed wire bats immediately are used between these two. Orton comes down to the ring with a trash can full of toys and the flimsiest looking barbed wire 2x4 I've ever seen in my life. So much so that the barbed wire is completely off of that thing by the time Foley gets down there. Foley grabs the barbed wire bat, immediately grinds at Orton's forehead. Nice little hazing moment there. He goes to set the barbed wire bat on fire. And this is my big problem with the match. If anything goes, what's stopping Mick Foley from setting that thing on fire? Eric Bischoff comes down and he's like, if you light that barbed wire bat on fire, damn you, Foley, I will shut this pay-per-view down right now. And I'm like, this crowd clearly wants fire. They clearly do.
Bischoff did not say he would personally shut down the match. He said the fire marshal would come down and shut the show down immediately. Apparently, this arena in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada had very strict fire laws, and they could not do anything like that, or else they would get shut down. Bischoff is guilting Foley, saying that everyone's going to have to go home. They're not going to see the end of this match. They're not going to see the pay-per-view. So go ahead, light that on fire and ruin everybody's night. So I think they just use that as a mechanic to explain why they're not doing anything fire on here. I know it's weird. I know it's convoluted, but
anything goes. Anything goes in a hardcore match.
I wasn't really offended by it. And I guess, if they really couldn't, they could have just omitted the entire thing. But I don't know. It was tiny. It didn't bother me. One thing I really liked about this match is that Orton's dynamic and his storytelling was Foley's a psychopath. He is willing to do absolutely anything, not only to himself, but to Orton. But Orton needed to dig down and, find that inner psycho in himself. What is he willing to do to Mick Foley in this match?
He's the legend killer. What is he willing to do to put the legend down, out to pasture? It's how far
Foley.
Exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
He hits Foley with the backdrop on the ramp. He gets Foley back up and he slams his head against the steel ramp. Again,
sick ass bumps too.
Foley's bumps were absolutely insane in this match. Again, Foley's got the barbed wire bat and he is raking it across Orton's head. And you can see Orton's fear of the barbed wire. He wants nothing to do with this barbed wire. He's trying everything that he can to stay away from this. Again, there's trash cans. There's the barbed wire that finally does make contact. And if there's one thing Orton doesn't get enough credit in this match, the selling. Because after Bischoff comes out and threatens to shut the show down, Foley takes a metal baking sheet and he smashes it across Orton's head, and Orton just crumples up and dies on the ground. And his selling doesn't get enough credit, even back in 2004.
One of the best to ever do it. I can sit here comfortably and say that Randy Orton is one of the best psychological storytellers to ever grace the wrestling business. Crazy me saying that now. And he was only 23 He wasn't even at the peak of his career at this point. He even said that in the interview. I'm not even at the peak of my career yet, and I'm already one of the longest reigning Intercontinental champions ever. You know, he's done so much. But
this match was so personal and so good that I forgot the Intercontinental title was on the line.
Yeah, way to make the Intercontinental title feel important, huh? Love these days. But
I still appreciate the title being on the line, because you see later with feuds, the title becomes like an afterthought.
That's kind of another thing, though. The match is very predictable. With the Intercontinental Championship on the line and Mick Foley being the challenger, he's not a full-time worker. I didn't think there was any way in hell Foley was going to be winning this belt.
So then we move on to the nastiest spot in this match. Orton introduces a bat, and he dumps the ground, on the ring mat, in the great words of JR, thousands and thousands of thumbtacks.
Good Lord.
And he signals to the crowd that he is going to RKO Mick Foley onto these thumbtacks.
Well, he wasn't signaling to the crowd. Let me stop you right there. He was a heel. He was like, okay, yeah, I think I can do this. Like, he was kind of testing out the arms. He was showing off the muscles and everything like that. Goes for the RKO. Fails.
At this moment, even watching this now, I saw this, and you immediately gain all the respect in the world for Randy Orton, because he goes for the RKO. Foley counters it, and he slams Orton all over these thumbtacks. There is thumbtacks in his back. There are thumbtacks in his thigh. He looks up, and there are thumbtacks all over his hand and his arm. As someone with a fear of sharp objects, I cringe and wince every time I see this spot.
Oh.
And how can you not respect Randy Orton after seeing something absolutely disgusting like that? And after Orton finally gathers his bearings, he rolls to the outside, and he wants the hell out of there. He is plucking thumbtacks out of his arm and his hand, and it's just absolutely disgusting.
Mick Foley throws him off the stage through a gigantic pile of plywood, probably to buy Randy Orton some time to pull those thumbtacks out, which I certainly don't blame him. At least 69 tacks in his back. Nice. Foley...
that was no crush pad.
No.
Orton took that bump full on through that wood. And then Foley does something that scares me probably more than the thumbtack spot. So the referees are holding him back so they can tend to Orton. And Foley shoves one referee. He punches another. And I'm pretty sure Foley did this spot like on a whim. This was just straight. He just thought of it on the spot, because he does a diving elbow off of the stage. And that's not the cringy part. The cringy part is, again, no crash pad. This is all wood. No, the framing of the wood had shattered, and there was one jagged piece that was sticking out. And when you see Foley take this elbow drop, he is like this close to impaling himself on that wooden spike.
Yeah.
That's why I think Foley did not think this spot through. I think he just did it.
Well, Foley is known for improvising in street fights and everything like that, but
you want to know my nitpick?
What's that?
Tiny nitpick, and I understand with the circumstances. Orton just got thrown off the stage, and he just took an elbow off the stage. How is that not the finish?
Put Randy Orton over huge. Put him over as a legitimate freaking badass is what it did.
He kicks out after that.
He does. And he kicks out of double arm DDT as well. Foley had the mandible claw on him. Orton hits the RKO. Somehow that's not the finish. And then he hits one more RKO, and he hits the freaking barbed wire bat that's still in the ring. And that's enough to pin Mick Foley. Orton, 2 pay-per-views in a row where he's pinned Mick Foley clean as a sheet.
Also, Mike Chioda was the referee for this match, right?
Yes.
They said at one point during one of those last couple pinfalls, he hit the mat and he actually slapped on some thumbtacks.
Oh.
So a couple attacks did get stuck in Chioda's hand.
God,
I know
the
they did
fucking
this in
worst
AEW,
thing.
but if they know there's going to be thumbtacks in this match, they need to provide these refs with some heavy-duty gloves, because that's not fair. Chioda should not have to get thumbtacks in his hand for doing his job.
Not at all. Not at all. Then again, at the same time, also, Randy Orton should not be taking a flat back bump and getting 69 tacks in his back or anything like that. But
the fact that Randy Orton took a thumbtack spot,
bare backs too,
12 years before Chris Jericho did, That's a testament right there.
Bare back, too. Orton came out with an Evolution t-shirt on, like he was ready for a freaking street fight. But no, he takes the flat back bump, no shirt, and yeah, just human pin cushion, but all the respect in the world for Randall Keith. This was, yeah, truly his coming out party. I'm going to give this match 4.5 stars. I really do love this match. Just a few small nitpicks in there that really hold it back from being my favorite Mick Foley hardcore match, but it's still match of the night for me. 100%.
I'm actually going to give it 4.75 stars, just shy of perfect. This was an excellent match. And again, I love this match because once again, this wasn't just mindless violence. This was a personal beef between two guys that were trying to prove something to one another. This is Foley's bread and butter. And how can you not give Orton credit for every single spot he took in this match? From the trash can shots to the baking sheet shots to taking a barbed wire and Mr. Sacco to the gullet to taking the thumbtack spot and then immediately getting thrown off the stage. Again,
crazy man.
That Randy Orton was the MVP.
Another legend killed. Do another tick mark on his list or whatever, but that was the end of the Orton-Foley feud. Absolutely iconic rivalry to really propel Orton to that next level. Certainly not the end of Randy Orton in the main event scene, that's for sure. But now we have to cool everybody down after that madness. It's going to be the Hurricane and the superhero in training, Rosie, otherwise known as Roman Reigns' older brother.
H-I-T.
The shit.
You monster. And that old lady hits him with the purse. That moment lives in my head rent-free for whatever reason.
Yeah, so Hurricane and Rosie, they're teaming up to take on La Resistance, sans Rene Dupree, who was drafted to SmackDown via draft lottery. Now it's just Sylvain Grenier and Robert Conway. They're literally going all Frenchy with Rob Conway now.
You know, I forgot Flair and Batista were still the tag champs. So here I am sitting here thinking this isn't for the tag titles. Nope. This is just a random match they threw together on Heat. And you know what? This isn't. You think a match like this has no place on the card and it's just boring and it's just there for you to go take a bathroom break. This wasn't half bad.
No, it was perfectly passable. I mean, it feels like an average Raw match that was tacked onto pay-per-view and whatnot. That wasn't the big memorable thing about it. I mean, these four guys worked hard, but the big thing was Eugene walking down to the ring and just being so excited to be on pay-per-view. He is just playing around with La Resistance's Quebec flag, which is stationed at ringside. He actually does get in the ring and starts running the ropes, and Hurricane and Sylvain are like wrestling on the side as Eugene is running the ropes. It's so funny.
I love it, yeah. Eugene is running those ropes better than most wrestlers I've seen run ropes.
It's such a funny visual. And then William Regal comes out. He's apologizing to the crowd for the interference. Hurricane.
This is a tiny, I don't want to say a nitpick, but just kind of like something I see and just think like, Regal, if you're Eugene's caretaker, how irresponsible do you have to be to not only let Eugene out of your sight long enough that he wanders to the ring, but it took him so long to get out there and get Eugene back.
Well, like, he has to make sure Eugene shakes hands with all of his fellow marks that are sitting in the front row. Probably, I don't know. But
Hurricane hits the final cut and he gets the pin. Two things I want to point out. I love the chemistry between Hurricane and Rosie. Call it a random tag team all you want, but these guys just clicked so well.
They did.
I talked about it before, the vignettes that they did together as the superhero in training. There was one vignette where Rosie saved a cat from a tree.
It was almost like Raw's answer to the Los Guerreros vignettes. As crazy as that is.
Because Hurricane is talking to the little girl about responsibility, and then you look in the background, and this cat is attacking Rosie, and he's throwing the cat around. He's slamming the cat against the tree. It's just like,
God.
It's funny. It's
and you acknowledge me as the superhero in chief.
Absolutely. And then another thing I want to point out, somehow in this scuffle, both Hurricane and the Rosie lost their masks.
They did.
I do appreciate Shane Helms playing up the superhero gimmick. And when he got the pin, he covered his face. Like, no, my secret identity. Nobody can see that.
Yeah, nobody can see this.
Yeah, I appreciate that little attention to detail, even though Rosie broke the superhero code and he was just letting his face show.
Well, yeah. He was letting the world show that he looks so much like his little brother right now. Like,
Basically.
not that he was a psychic or anything, but yeah.
Rest in peace, Rosie. We miss you.
Yeah. Hurricane and Rosie pick up a big win. Star and 3/4. It existed. You know, they worked hard. Eugene was the most memorable part of it, though. Unfortunately, these 4 guys worked hard, and the most memorable part was, the new guy coming in and, just kind of distracting everybody.
I give it a 1.5 stars. Let's just say if everybody else was going to the bathroom during this match, I actually would have stayed.
Yeah.
I would have stayed and watched this match.
I would have stayed and gone to the bathroom for this next match, which I'll let you talk about because I got to plug in my laptop. So take it away.
Absolutely. This is the definition of a bathroom match, believe it or not. It's Edge taking on Kane. We talked about this at the WrestleMania 20 review that Edge was being advertised to come back. He had been out of action for over a year with a serious neck injury.
He sure was.
Talked about Edge at the No Way Out 2003 pay-per-view. He was originally supposed to be part of a 6-man tag with Benoit and Brock Lesnar, taking on Team Angle. That never happened. They wrote him off TV with the mysterious backstage attack that they never followed through with. Now Edge is back, and he has been drafted to Monday Night Raw, and this is the beginning of probably the worst run in Edge's career.
You don't say. You don't say.
Talk about directionless.
Edge was brought over to Raw in the draft lottery, probably Raw's biggest acquisition, because this is a guy who, like you said, coming off major neck surgery, right? Missing not just WrestleMania 19, but WrestleMania 20. This was probably the lowest point in Edge's life at this time. And he's coming back, Rob Zombie's blaring over the PA system at the draft lottery, and then they completely take that shit away from him. And he comes out
to his Attitude Era theme, which is mid. It's mid.
So boring. It's so boring.
It's boring, yeah.
Like this whole match was. Edge versus Kane is such a random pairing right now, because Kane is just coming off of a feud with his brother. It was probably one of the most captivating, compelling builds going into WrestleMania. And now Kane is basically Eric Bischoff's bitch at this point, doing his dirty work.
Edge came back after he got drafted, and he immediately spears Eric Bischoff for no fucking reason, unprovoked. Edge just spears the shit out of Bischoff. Edge had his arm broken in the process, and he was doing the Undertaker thing from 2002, using it as a weapon. And Johnny Nitro, who, again, separated his shoulders so he wasn't on TV a lot, he tells Edge, if you use that cast in your match during Edge, not only will you get disqualified, you will be suspended indefinitely. And Nitro, they wanted to use him so badly in this era, but he was so injury prone and they couldn't find anything to do with him, just be Bischoff's temporary lackey.
Yeah, who here forgot that Johnny Nitro... Who here forgot that Johnny Nitro was Eric Bischoff's sidekick for a time? Raise your hand. Because I sure did.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I sure did.
He was hurt, so they could not do anything with him. He couldn't get physical. His arm was in a sling for the majority of his run on Raw before he would get repackaged a couple years later.
He would get better. He would certainly get better. But this match was so boring, dude. I wanted to like this, but like Kane is just getting heat on Edge. And, like, a Kane match, if he's not working with, like, someone who's really technically sound like a Kurt Angle or a Chris Benoit, as we'll talk about.
Edge and Kane would go on to have a lot better matches in their career. But, again, Edge had not wrestled in over a year. There's some obvious ring rust here. They're both just two directionless main event guys wrestling, this is the bathroom break match. And I can't remember a damn thing that happened in this match. I remember a spinning wheel kick at one point. And then get this, you're a big red monster who had to be escorted to the ring by security guards, handcuffed and shackled, now gets
house arrest
out when Edge goes for a spear, doesn't even connect with the spear on Earl Hebner. Earl Hebner spills to the outside. I guess he's catching his breath. And I guess while Hebner's back is turned, Edge hits a low blow. He hits Kane with the cast, and he hits Kane with a spear and beats him. Everybody looked like a chump in this match, including the referee. I give this 0.5 star.
God, 0.5 star, dude. Wow. Fuck it. I'll go 0.5 star, too. This was the weakest match on the show. Kane did not need to be in this match. Like, just keep Kane off the show. Like, if you have nothing for Kane to do, then don't make him Eric Bischoff's bitch and go after the guy who speared him.
They just wanted to get Edge on the show.
So don't have him wrestle Kane. It's not that hard.
It's crazy. And you know what? We really hate to say this, but for the next few months, it's not going to get that much better for Edge. It's actually going to get worse.
It's certainly not going to get that much better for Kane. Kane had a very bizarre 2004. He had the most compelling WrestleMania build probably out of anybody on the roster. And now from here all the way to the end of the year, it's fucking atrocious. Like,
shit's gonna get weird. Let's just say that now. Shit's gonna get weird.
Oh God, yeah. Expect some rants on both of our ends on that.
And
that
I know
front,
it's not gonna be for a couple of months, but I'm just gonna get this out of the way now. The next time we see Edge, he's gonna be in one of the worst Intercontinental title matches I've ever seen in my life.
Really? The Vengeance one?
No, Bad Blood, or is it Vengeance?
Him against Orton?
Yes.
Oh, man, I actually remember not really thinking that match was all that bad, but, I mean, heck, I may have just remembered it wrong, but,
we'll get to that in a
this
couple.
match was not good, point being, so,
But you know what was good?
Oh, yeah, this main event was great. Chris Benoit defending the big gold belt against Shawn Michaels and Triple H in Benoit's hometown. Man, oh man, was it, like, okay, so Benoit gets a hero's welcome once his music plays. The crowd loves this guy.
Final encounter. This was a straight up, not copy and paste, but just, a repeat match from WrestleMania.
Except Benoit's going in defending his holy grail. He's holding up the title and he goes in the ring, gets in Hunter's face, holds up the belt, gets in Shawn's face, gets an even bigger pop because it's Canada.
You really don't see rematches of triple threat matches.
No, you never see this. You never see this.
Yeah, such a enamoring visual.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%, dude. He gets the hero's welcome, and then it cuts to the front row, and you see Benoit's wife, Nancy, his son, David, and Nancy and Chris's son, Daniel, in the front row. Man, is that an eerie visual nowadays. Makes me sad.
Very scary to look at. Very, very
Makes
scary.
me super sad. And David is super happy in that visual, super excited to be there.
Little do they know that the biggest monster they would ever know would be the person they're there to support. God, I just fucking scared myself saying that.
Yeah, it just gives me shivers. Yeah.
Let's talk about the real villain in this match. Shawn Michaels' first appearance since a certain pay-per-view in 1997
in
called
Canada
Survivor Series, where he happened to screw over a certain someone who is Canada's son, basically.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most famous wrestler to ever come out of wrestling
in Canada.
Bret Hart screwed him over, worked the shoot style. And let's just say it's been 7 years and Canada has not forgiven Shawn Michaels yet. And you know what? I don't think they ever will.
No.
I've never seen Shawn Michaels booed this hard as a babyface before.
The rule is, if you're a Canadian wrestling fan and you go to a show where Shawn Michaels is on the card or he's doing a promo, because he appeared at No Way Out 2003, which was in Montreal as well. Michaels was booed out of the building there too. So I feel like if Shawn Michaels is on a show which takes place in Canada, he is not safe. He is not safe.
Let's fast forward to 2009, Breaking Point in Montreal, where he is in D-Generation X getting ready for a tag team match. And right before the DX intro, Triple H tells the crowd, and I want you all to know that it was all his fault. I had nothing to do with it. He throws Shawn Michaels under the bus, and the crowd just absolutely erupts for that. And that is one of the best moments in pay-per-view history.
Probably the best DX 2009 moment right there. But, so a big story going into this, I should note, Triple H was drafted to SmackDown in this draft lottery. But here he is on a Raw show because Eric Bischoff basically, in storyline, did not want to lose Triple H. So he puts together a blockbuster trade to bring Triple H back over here, which we'll get into on the Judgment Day stream. But in
They
reality,
basically took all of Triple H's victims from 2002 and 2003 and shipped them to SmackDown in order to get Triple H.
basically, that's what happened, wasn't it? But Triple H did have some pull backstage now that him and Steph were married in real life, and I guess he didn't want to work on Tuesdays. So there you go.
Yeah, and it was. I remember as a kid that was such a big deal, and I was so excited for it just to have it pulled have the rug pulled from under us. It's like in 2011 when they drafted John Cena to SmackDown, and then at the very end of the night, boom, right back to Raw. I was like, do you think we're fucking stupid, WWE? The answer is yes.
But that was when Vince McMahon was in charge, and 2011 was when the brand split didn't mean jack shit anymore. But yeah, so this triple threat match was incredible. It was great wrestling. What else do you expect? It's a continuation of WrestleMania 20. Shawn is so fucking hated. He does an Asai moonsault to the outside, and the crowd is just begging for Shawn to die at this point.
There's one of two ways WWE could have went about this. It was A, Michaels, you're our top babyface, and we know you're going to get hated here. And I'm sure Michaels knew he was going to get hated there too. Just go out there and wrestle how you usually would. Let's just get past this and we'll continue. And then the other way was, which I kind of wish they would have did, Shawn Michaels could have embraced it a little. You know what I mean?
Could have.
Hey, he knows Canada hates him, and when he goes back to the States, he's going to go back to being beloved. Why not fuck with the crowd a little? I know Michaels would fuck with the crowd when he turned heel for a month in 2005, but this could have been another opportunity to just be like, hey, they're not going to like me, so I might as well play up to that. But no, they kind of
went sort of do.
Route. They went the safer route.
It would have made so much more sense for Michaels and Triple H to team up on Benoit here than they did at Mania 20.
Yeah, and then if there's one thing they do a callback to, this is one of my favorite spots in the match. Shawn Michaels puts Benoit in the sharpshooter, and Earl Hebner runs to make the save. And I love how Hebner has his finger up like he's threatening to ring the bell. I'm sure everybody in the arena had a heart attack during that show.
Good Lord. Yeah, this crowd was holding their collective breath with Benoit in that sharpshooter. But there's a point where Triple H, I don't know if he even hit a pedigree in this. I think he did. Some really great near falls, some really great counter wrestling, of course, because you have these three involved once again. This match, I will tell you, everybody, I got news for you. Not as good as their match at WrestleMania 20, which is still the greatest triple threat match in history with one of the most emotional endings of all time.
I mean, but I feel excellent. Like this match is absolutely excellent.
It is. I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like Canadian fans would have a little bit of a bias towards this match, mainly because of how it ends. Chris Benoit does not retain the championship with the crippler crossface, as you would expect. He does lock it in for a few close calls, but there's a point. Mike Chioda takes that ref bump. Earl Hebner, of course, does the thing Tomas alluded to. You get close to the finish. It's Benoit and Michaels one-on-one, and Benoit locks Shawn in the sharpshooter. Triple H is inches away from saving his former best friend, but Shawn taps to the sharpshooter in Canada. And vindication for the screw job for right now.
I was going to say, there's two things I want to point about this. Number one, I love the excellent storytelling because I would loved it. And I'm sure I like to look at it as Shawn Michaels saw Triple H was going to break up the sharpshooter. And Shawn Michaels realized, you know what? Making sure Triple H doesn't win this title means a lot more to me than me winning this title. So he tapped out in spite of Triple H to make sure, you know what, if I can't have this title, neither can you.
That is also a big thing, Tomas, and I'm glad you mentioned that. When Triple H was drafted to SmackDown, there was a segment on that episode of Raw during the draft lottery where Shawn goes up to Bischoff and he's like, listen, if Hunter's over there, I have unfinished business with him, please trade me over to SmackDown. Which would have been very interesting because we would have probably gotten Eddie Guerrero versus Shawn Michaels more than we can count.
But that night too, we got Eddie Guerrero versus Triple H for the WWE title
in a very rare match. Yeah. Eddie and Hunter, man,
one and only. I think that was the one and only time they worked.
God, that's crazy. But anyhow, Bischoff did not want to lose two of his biggest stars, so he promises Shawn a world title match at Backlash. But then he gets Triple H back in the fold, and he's like, let's just have lightning strike twice. Let's just do the triple threat again. And
Yeah,
It was
and it's
magic.
great. I love that level of storytelling that Shawn Michaels and Triple H had, where Michaels would rather tap out to make sure Triple H doesn't win that title
Yeah.
over Michaels winning the title himself. And another thing is, I feel like this was Shawn Michaels' apology to Canada because he's a
Little
reformed
bit.
man. He's a different place. He realized all of his mistakes. He's like, you know what? On my bucket list of people I need to make up to, the entire country of Canada. Sorry I did that. I'm gonna tap out to the same submission hold in your guys' country to another Canadian wrestler. Just kind
To
of
your guys' champion.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Yeah, when it was the Chris Benoit Day in Edmonton, which you will
I
never
guarantee
hear
it's not Chris Benoit Day anymore.
No.
It's been officially replaced by Rusev Day.
Oh, wow. Even though Rusev's not even Canadian, but...
It's Rusev Day today. Did you know that?
No, it's Miro Day. I don't know what you're talking about.
Always Rusev Day.
So, anywho, Benoit, Michaels, Hunter, the final encounter, 4.5 stars, I would say. Nowhere near the WrestleMania 20 match, in my opinion. Still an excellent match. I'm not downplaying this, but very, very satisfying conclusion to this pay-per-view. Benoit holds up the Canadian flag with the title in his hometown.
Which a fan threw at him, which is a little weird.
Weird.
The Canadian flag thrown into the ring. Like, here, take it.
Well, I mean... It's
not handed to him like the Mexican flag was to Eddie Guerrero. Just here, take the
flag. No, it was the California flag, dude. It wasn't even the Mexican flag.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Even though Eddie is not from California.
Oh, right.
Doesn't make any sense, but...
I guess my Mandela effect kicked in. I could have sworn he had the Mexican flag. Anywho,
I mean, similar colors.
The Canadian flag at Chris Benoit. I fucking take it.
Holding up the Canadian flag, holding up the belt, and that's how the show goes off the air. Really great show. 8 out of 10 for me. I think it's...
I'm going to give it a 4.25 stars. I just don't... This match was really good, but not as many memorable spots as the WrestleMania match to just, go off of what you were saying about this match. And rating-wise, 7.75, just a little shy of 8. There was some really good stuff on this match, but nothing like other than the main event and the hardcore match. Nothing too... absolutely mind-blowing. There weren't there was some solid stuff, but no hey, you really need to go out of your way to see Benjamin and Flair. Nothing like that.
No. This is almost like 2004's version of No Mercy 2002. Now hear me out on this. That show, which we reviewed way back in the early days of ZNT Wrestling Show, that had 2 amazing matches on it. And everything else was just kind of meh. But I feel like I can't grade this show lower than an 8 just because you have 2 incredible matches on here. The main event and the hardcore match, absolutely go out of your way to see. The handicap match is fun enough.
Yeah, I feel like I'm noticing a pattern with all of these early brand split pay-per-views. I feel like that's why WWE wanted you to buy these shows. The undercard is there. It's kind of like a boxing fight. You're there for the fight, and you have some matches on the undercard, but no one really, cares for them or remembers them. But you order the pay-per-view for Foley and Orton. You order the pay-per-view for Triple H, Benoit, and Shawn Michaels. Everything else is we have some other stuff here, just to curb your appetite before those matches. I mean, we forgot to mention, we do get a rare promo for Judgment Day 2004, which we will be reviewing next. They chronicled the JBL and Eddie Guerrero match for the WWE title, just to give you guys a little taste of what you'll be getting from us next month.
Yeah, we'll be talking about me wrestling Eddie Guerrero for the WWE Championship in 202004.
Yeah, probably the only match we're talking about.
Yeah, but Tomas has said that I look like JBL and that I look like Riddle, so I gotta...
You do look like Matt Riddle. It's very weird
that
you
don't.
were wrestling.
No,
you were
I
teaming
don't.
with Rey Mysterio while sitting right next to me. It was very odd.
Yeah. You son of a bitch. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell as well. Look out for our Judgment Day 2004 review next month. And I've also put out a poll on my Twitter for the replacement show for the Blood Money shit that we're getting. Extreme Rules next month as well. We got some great matches lined up there too. We got the return of the Fight Pit. Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross was just announcing a strap match on SmackDown tonight, which should be very fun. The most Extreme Rules is felt in, God, I don't even know how long, dude. Can't wait.
Let's just say we're not going to be getting Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch going to a disqualification victory like we saw last year. We're going to see a little more extreme in Extreme Rules. Thank you, Papa H.
Isn't that great when a head of creative doesn't insult your intelligence? Isn't that great?
Absolutely.
But
Can't wait.
yeah, all right. Well, stay tuned for more exciting content very, very soon. Take care, guys.